So, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to take a little different approach in August. I think it's a time to play and have a little bit of fun and maybe teach through that. So, a long time ago, in 1990, I think it was, I first ran into this whole concept of Abraham. How many of you have read Abraham or heard of Abraham? Okay. It made a profound change in my life because it was the first time I had any teaching around vibration. And as I've been teaching in the last 2 months, vibration is the thing that was taken out of Think and Grow Rich, and it's what was taken out of The Secret. And quite frankly, it's been the part that's been missing in so much of spiritual teaching. Thinking is important, we know that. Feeling's important. But when you begin to understand the importance of vibration and why that matters, you begin to see amazing things happen. We had a workshop yesterday. We saw life-transforming things happen. It wasn't me. I'm just a facilitator of the process and the ideas, but the energy came from the group and that group around an individual because they began to vibrate at a place of health, of openness, of authenticity. We saw life transformation happen. And that's what happens when a group, remember what the Master Teacher Jesus said, when 2 or 3 come together in my essence. What's the essence? Unconditional love. Amazing things happen. And we're watching that. We see that happening on Tuesday nights and Sundays and on Saturday. So in this, we're going to continue through a process, but as I said, I want to teach it in a different way. I want to teach it about processes, practical processes. And quite honestly, those of you who have coached with me, the spiritual coaching, you're going to see a lot of what I do here because these processes created my spiritual coaching. I use all of these for my own life and also with people that I coach. So I'm giving it away for free here. So enjoy it. See what works. As I approach anything, I invite you to approach it. I'll come with an open mind. Does it work for me? I'll try it. If it doesn't work for me, let it go and move on. Because not all 22 are going to connect with you. But there's going to be 1 or 2, it's like, wow, if I start to use this, look what starts to begin to happen. Okay? So and also this Tuesday we are having Going Deeper to Go Higher, 7 o'clock here in the sanctuary. And what we're going to do this Tuesday is take these processes from today and we're going to play as a group. How do we do this? How do we implement it? How can we make it better? Where are we finding issues that are stopping us? So it's going to be a much more different kind of class. It's going to be a how-to class. So if you are interested, please join us 7 o'clock here in the sanctuary. So this is what we now know. Quantum physics, I keep talking about this, but the universe is a universe of vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates, including us, including the piano. Everything. And as we begin to get that and understand that, it begins to change everything that we do from a spiritual standpoint. But the highest and fastest energy in the universe is what I call source energy. Some people call it God, and that's fine. Some people call it spirit. Some people call it Brahman. Some people call it the Tao. It doesn't matter the name you use for you, because it's all the same. But the fastest and the highest and the most powerful and the most intelligent energy is source energy. And we want to learn how to align with it and let it flow through us, which is how we were created, in the likeness and image of source energy. We were not created in the likeness and the image of depression, or sadness, or anger, or fear, or anxiety. Those are not how we were created. We learn those beliefs through our lives as human beings on the planet. It means we can unlearn them just as quickly. And what this is about these next weeks is about finding practical processes that allow us to, as the cork, float to the top. Because I don't know about you, but when you look at that emotional grid, I want to be at number one, right? 24/7. Am I there yet? No. But that's my intention. That's my expectation, where I want to live. And these processes will help us to get there. Einstein also said this. He talked about frequency, he talked about vibration, he talked about last week, I only want to know the thoughts of God, the rest of it's minutia. But he said this, nothing happens until something moves. We are responsible to make it move. Source energy is. It exists, been here forever, Alpha to Omega, before the beginning and beyond the end. But the difference is you and I have to learn to move it. And that's what this is about, becoming a conscious co-creator, deliberate in how we create every minute of our lives. Because we get to do that. It's our God-given right to choose to live in joy or bliss or somewhere up there in the number 1 and 2 and 3 levels. Wayne Dyer has always been one of my mentors, one of my spiritual teachers. I have every one of his books. I've read them many times. But he said this about what we're going to study today. This, where we live, is the world created by source energy that wants you and me to reconnect to it and live a life of joyful well-being. Who doesn't want to live joyful well-being 24/7? I mean, to me, that's a really good expectation to have. It's a really good intention to have. But until and when you have the want to and set the intention and the desire to live a life of joy-filled well-being, you won't. You're going to live in default. You're going to live, oh, well, whatever comes, and then maybe I could blame them. A lot of people live that way. But you don't have to, and neither do I, because we can choose. And we now know through all the study in science a way to change that if we wish. So Esther and Jerry Hicks, those of you who have met them, I met them in 1990. In 1990, I never had even heard much about channeled work. It was like, oh, that's voodoo stuff, and I wouldn't have anything to do with it. Well, I can tell you this is what I do know now after studying all the scriptures of all the religions in the world. They're all channeled, right? The New Testament was written 60, 90 years after Jesus was gone. So it's all work. It doesn't matter if it's a Course in Miracles, whatever. So what my approach became is read it, feel it. Does it work for me? If it's not, put it aside. So I don't know how much you know this story, but Esther was raised in a very fundamental Christian, and she wouldn't even have anything to do with an Ouija board. When Jerry got an Ouija board and said, I want to learn all these, because Jerry is one of those guys that had notebooks of questions his whole life, and he couldn't get any answers. Well, the universe put the two of them together, and Esther wouldn't have anything to do with this stuff. Well, all of a sudden, they went to someone and learned how to meditate, and she began to meditate, and she began to ask the question, I would like to know who my spiritual guide is. Maybe you have asked those same questions. And she wanted to know, well, all of a sudden her head started to move. And she goes, oh my God, Jerry, I'm spelling letters with my nose. And Jerry's like, really, Esther? Go, girl. Better than a Ouija board. Well, she began to spell out. And what it spelled out was, I am Abraham. I'm your spiritual guide. And that was the day she freaked out. But as she began, and she didn't run, she began to meditate more and more on this, and this whole process began to take place. And to this day, she still does channel this energy that we're talking about. Sounds far-fetched, I get it. But as I began to read the material and I began to implement it in my life, I was seeing massive changes. I was like, there's some real truth in here. And that's when I began to go deeper and deeper into the process. What I like about Esther, all of you have probably seen YouTubes and stuff of other people who channel, and it just blows me away when they have to have a really strange accent and sound like they're like the Victorian something or other. And I'm like, yeah, really? I mean, if you're going to channel, talk like you normally talk. Well, that was one of the things that was attracted to Esther, because when I heard her talk, It sounded like we were having this conversation. And there's all kinds of YouTubes you can see about it. But here's what I love about it. Once she began to communicate and get some answers, and they were real live answers, their lives changed drastically. They went from basically having nothing and were fully in debt to began to see all kinds of abundance in their lives and happy things. But here's what Abraham told her, because she asked, who are you? What are you? And this is the answer they got. We are not singular consciousness. Abraham is a collective consciousness. There is a non-physical stream of consciousness which provides answers to your questions. Now, it's up to you. Does that fit your belief system or not? And you're welcome to believe it or not. What I did is I began to study it, and I began to see what was happening in my own life, and I said, okay, I will continue to read more and study more. So this was their first 2 books. Go back to 1985, I think. And they self-published it because no publisher in the United States would touch it. Like, we're not spending the money doing channel stuff from non-physical streams of consciousness. That was 1985, 36 years ago. So you can see what's happened, right? So Hay House said later on, oh, I'll do that. And they went on to be multi-billion-dollar companies. So that's the consciousness shift on this planet in those 35 years, where Hay House is now one of the largest publishers out there of many, many, many channeled, quote, channeled materials. But he went on to say this, Wayne Dyer, and because of Wayne Dyer was the reason I really began to look into it. He said, this is one of the most powerful teachings on our planet today. I've been profoundly influenced by the message Abraham offers. And he studied a lot before he transitioned with the 2 and did tours all over the world with them and really gave them credibility in my mind of what the teaching was that was coming forward. So ask, and it's given's purpose is this, to help you and I in the physical understand our relationship with God and to all that we really are. I don't know about you, but that felt good to me. I was like, yeah, I want to know more about that. How do I get to know more about that? And as I began to do these processes, and I said most of them I use in my coaching, to awaken our awareness of the potency of our powerful now. Not the past, not the future, the potency of our powerful now. We have heard this teaching how many times from how many spiritual teachers? But I know you know, because I hear it from you, as you're learning to drop the past. That's what yesterday was all about, right? And we saw people drop huge parts of their past. And as you do that and move into the now, the power in this moment is the power for you to change your life. And it cannot and will not ever happen other than that. It will not happen in the past. It will never happen in the future. Potency of our powerful now. As we apply these processes and our memory awakens to the powerful laws of the universe, our natural zest of life returns. I've told you this a long time ago, 4 years ago when I started here. I want to be at 93 with the waking up, bounding out of bed with the zest for life. Right? If we lose our zest for life, we stop living. We begin to go backwards. We begin to stagnate. It's the zest of life is where the magic is. And it's on the cutting edge of leading thought. Louise Hay, who I also have high respect for, said this: one of the most valuable things about asking it is given is that Abraham gives 22 powerful processes to achieve our goals. I love this book, and I love Esther and Jerry Hicks. Some pretty good folks, been great teachers, have come forward in support of this material. So what I decided to do going into this week is let's change it up, and instead of teaching ideas and thoughts, let's do the processes. And so what I'm doing is over the next weeks, I'm going to take 4 processes every week, and we're going to do, the initial parts of them here just so you can get a feel for them. And then on Tuesday night, we're going to play. And we're going to do the processes, all 4 of them, and practice them and see how they feel and see which ones apply to you. because we're all about, in August of 2021, I want more zest. I want more feel good, more of well-being. One of the things Abraham says is, we always say this, all is well, but we don't identify well-being as part of who we are. That's who we are. We're well-beings, not other kinds of beings. And as we begin to focus on that and allow that wellness and that zest to come out, life begins to change for us. So let's go ahead and get started with the process. The first process is called the rampage of appreciation. What I like about what they've done is they identify, and I've been showing you that emotional grid going from 1 to 22, and they show where you should be emotionally on that scale of where to apply these different processes. So for this one, you want to be somewhere between number 1, joy, and number 5, optimism. So it's not when you're down and depressed, you don't do this. And they're giving you guidance of how to begin to implement it. So rampage of appreciation, the vibration of appreciation is the most powerful connection between your physical self and your non-physical self. The vibration of appreciation is the most powerful connection between your physical self and your non-physical self. Anytime you get out of bed in the morning and you're not feeling at the top of your game, go here immediately and begin a rampage of appreciation. And what I love about these practical processes, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do these. These are simple ways to do, which changes your energy immediately. So let's take a look deeper. This is the process of practicing higher vibration. Obviously, if you're 1 to 5, you're already in the positive side. So you pick any subject in your awareness and begin to think of every word of appreciation you can. Now, when you start this, my suggestion is you write it out. There's something about the physical and you sitting down. But let me tell you where it really works great. It works when you're thinking about it. And all of a sudden you're feeling some energy of not so good. And you can immediately turn it around by doing a rampage. Rampage is find every word of appreciation you have for that subject. And just do it nonstop. Remember the timing. 68 seconds. Your vibration begins to attune to that appreciation level. And the law of attraction begins to bring you in 68 seconds. It doesn't take long. And you can instantly turn it around into something more. The more words you can come up with, the higher your vibration of allowing and the less resistance you have to your well-being. Let it fly. Come up with 12, 20, 25, 50 words of appreciation, and all of a sudden you're going to sit back, and this is what I did. I went, wow. I haven't spent a lot of time in appreciation. I had to struggle to get some words out. But the more I did it, the more I began to find words of appreciation. And guess what happened to my vibration? Went up. And went up very quickly. And what happens is those same words will apply to another subject. And all of a sudden my vocabulary began to change in my head, because I was using more and more words of appreciation. Rampage of appreciation. So I use an example here. You're driving to work. Oh, I love my car. This new road is wonderful. Even though it's raining, I'm making good time. I love how reliable this car is. I'm grateful for my job. What happened to my vibration when I was moaning about the rain? You can do this for any subject. You can do it for friends. You can do it for your home. You can do it for your job. You can do it for your friends, family, pet, any subject in your life. And do a rampage of appreciation. For those of you who go to work on Monday, use it on your job Monday morning before you get there. Do a rampage of appreciation. And watch what happens not only to you, but watch how your vibration begins to affect everyone around you. That's what vibration is. It's not just for you. It's for serving humanity. It's for serving your loved ones and friends and family and people at the spiritual center. And the more you crank it up, and the more you're willing to be kind of silly and just play, the more your vibration rises. Rampage of appreciation. Let it rip. But really, take a moment today, and just take a subject that you've been having some issues around. Maybe you're not feeling so positive about. And sit down, and beginning you have to force yourself. You have to do this because how many out here practice rampage of appreciation? No, we weren't taught this. It's not normal. It's not natural. It's not our habit. Our habit is to go to what's wrong, right? We were taught that well. Look for what's wrong, and we'll do the analysis. And if we can find the origin of what's wrong, we can begin to change. No, it doesn't work that way because your vibration keeps going this way. The more analysis you do, the farther down the rabbit trail you go, and the deeper you go down the line. You can stop it at any minute and begin a rampage of appreciation and turn it completely around, and you take a big deep breath and go, wow, what was the issue there? These processes work. I promise you, I've used them for many, many years. And I use all of these. I said to a couple this morning, I said, I'm giving away all my secrets of spiritual coaching to the next couple of weeks. Because this is what I use in my coaching. Those of you who have coached with me are going to see them as we go along. Go, oh yeah, I remember when we did that. They work. Try them out. In the mode of appreciation, we are in the practice of receiving, the last step in the creation process. Remember? Step 1 is ask. Step 2 is let the universe bring through the details. Step 3 is be open to receive. And appreciation gets us in the mode of receiving. We cannot receive when we resist what we ask for. It's either receive or allowing, or resistance, which turns it away. And so it's the third piece that most people miss in the co-creation process. When we've made the decision that nothing is more important than feeling good, the vibration of appreciation is most powerful. I hope by now in these teachings that is your intent, to live a life of joy, to live a life of feeling good. We've given so many tools to go to the next level, to feel better. One more better feeling thought will take you. This rampage of appreciation will jumpstart you to another level. If you're feeling attacked by someone, now I know most of you maybe I'm the only one that gets defensive. But when you feel someone attack and you feel that defensive mode, go to a rampage of appreciation. And that defensiveness goes whoosh. And you say, oh, they're just being who they are. It's about them. It's not about me. I'm not going to take it personally. It really helps when you see. Send out a rampage of appreciation about that person. You can find something about them, even when you feel like they're attacking you, that you can appreciate. Maybe you start with, well, I just appreciate they're alive. That's okay. That's better than getting entangled in the drama triangle, which is what that's all about. But here's the key. Appreciation and being defensive cannot exist at the same time. As you bring up appreciation, defensiveness flees, or negativity, or whatever it might be. Process number 2, the magical creation box. I love this process. And I welcome all of you to go home and try it. Give it a try once. And if you don't like it, then you can write me an email and say that was silly. But try it once. The magical creation box, again, is for when you're between joy and optimism. This is not a process that's going to take you out of the depths of despair. It's when you're feeling good and you want to go to another level of better feeling. Find a box that's pleasing to you. It doesn't matter what it's made of. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It just feels good to you. and you write this on top. Whatever is contained in this box is. That's all you have to write. Whatever is contained in this box is. And keep the box secret for you. Don't share it with anyone. It's your box. It's your way to communicate to the universe what you want for your life. Beyond, and this is a place to go big. Really big. Dream big. Set intention big. Clip out pictures, drawings you have. If you can't find that, write it out, but make a description. But here's the key, it can be anything. There is no limit, no lack, no restriction to what you can put in your magical creation box. If you're an artist, draw it. Sketch it. Be willing to be bold enough to state in this physical manner what you want out of life and at what level, and have no restrictions to it. Whatever is in here is. And as you begin to place these things in the box, you say out loud, whatever is contained in this box is. Whatever is contained in this box is. Whatever is contained in this box is, you cover up, it's yours. I welcome each of you. I don't care what your box looks like. And you say, well, can I do it mentally? Sure, it doesn't work as well. There's something about making it physical. And it's also something about you being bold enough and courageous enough to tell the whole universe, this is who I am and this is what I want. Remember what we were told, command ye me. God said, divine said. We don't command. We don't ask. We are not brave enough or courageous enough to ask for it all. This is where you do it. And you can do it in the secret of your home, and don't tell anybody. This is between you and the universe. You don't even tell me. Put in what you want at the highest level you can dream. Just the hunting and clipping will guide you to become more focused. Just think about the process. You're sitting here generally saying, well, I want to have a better life. Well, how can the universe define that? It's so generic, it's so general, they're going, well, I wonder what they really want. Specific, focused attention, give it energy, clip it out, draw it, sketch it, get it in there, make this statement, this is, and watch what happens. You are finalizing your amplifying step number one, ask. You are asking with focus and attention. Focus and attention brings energy. And as you bring energy to this fun process, watch what happens. There are no limits to what you can put in your box. Little, big, many. The universe doesn't care. It manages it all through the law of attraction. Abraham says this, if you are a good feeling person, in other words, you're high up, your set point is pretty high up above contentment, this may be all you have to do to have the life you want. It's that powerful. If you're living without a lot of resistance in your vibration to the new life and to new ideas, this process may be all you need to create the perfect life for you. It's worth it, don't you think, to try it? And you can try it over and over again. But try it and see what happens. And my challenge to you is to give it a chance to work. And he says in there later, you will begin to experience the ask and it's given, ask and it's given. And as things start to show up that are in your box, what happens to your faith? What happens to your belief system? It goes sky high, and now where's your vibration? When it was here, it's up here. Say, man, I know how to do this. I got 3 more things I want to put in my box today. And that begins a different dynamic and vibration and acceptance for you. If you will do this process, I promise you, you will be amazed at the efficiency of all the enormous non-physical staff that will respond to your desires. Now you may put in there enormous non-physical staff. You could put in angels there if you'd like, if that works for you. But it doesn't matter what you call them, because they're going to show up to help you succeed. We are here and we have all this help. But we don't do number one. We don't ask with courage. We don't ask with definity. And as we do, this process will get you there a better way. The creative workshop is number 3. Again, this is when you're between 1 and 5, between joy and optimism. This is most powerful when it's written out. And you know I've been banging this drum for 4 years. Write it down. Why? Because it gets it out of your head and gets it in the physical. It also forces you to focus. When you have to write it down to look at it, you focus it. What you do with this is very simply, you take 4 pages on your notebook or your journal, and at the very top you write my body, my home, my relationships, and my work or retirement. Take a page for each. And so on the first page you'll write, this is what I desire regarding my body. And you begin to write down everything you want for your body. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I would bet you the majority of people sitting here today have not written out for the universe what they want for their body. This is the best anti-aging process you can have. Because if you do not state your intention to the universe, you will begin to follow what the human process of decline is over age. Oh, at 74, this is what it is. No, 74 is an idea. There is no time in the divine. Time comes from your belief in what 74 or 78 or 89 or 94 looks like. This is your place to tell the universe what you want for these 4 subjects. Why these 4? Because of the 4 major areas of our lives. And so once you have those, then you take it, each one of those under the list, and begin to define the why. We saw yesterday in our coaching session, live coaching session, what why does to you, right? Those of you who are here. We have the what, but as we begin to define the why, we begin to focus attention. And we get much clearer to ourselves and the universe. Why is this important? Like I used here one that I'm using right now. I want to return to my ideal body weight. Well, I actually walked in here today and said, oh, my pants just fell off. I forgot a belt. It's working. Because it's on my sheet. I want to return to my ideal body weight. Why? Because I feel best when I'm at that weight. You see how I define now the what into a much stronger focused attention. Or because I will be able to wear some of my best clothes. You know, I don't know about you, but I have like the fat boy side and the neck size. And I go back and forth. Well, I got to put on the fat boy pants this week. I don't want that anymore. I've set an intention to be my ideal body weight. Why? And I begin to list the whys. That's all you have to do in this creative workshop. This process further clarifies our desires and allows ourselves to focus and bring attention to the 4 major areas of our lives. Can you do other areas? Absolutely. These are just guidelines of how to get started in your creative workshop. You can do this for any subject you have. Right at the top of the page, what you want, and then the whys. And begin to find as many whys as you can. And as you do that, you bring focus and attention. And what happens with focus and your attention brings energy. And you bring more and more energy to what your desire is, setting off this big rocket of desire. When we focus on the why, we soften resistance and quickly move into allowing and receiving. When we focus on what's none of our business, the who, when, and how, we raise resistance, right? If I focus on going to my ideal body weight and I'm focused on how and when is it going to happen, my answer is I don't know. That is not allowing. That is not receiving. That's resistance. You see the difference? So that part, who, when, and how, is not my job to do. That's the universe. My job is to define the what and the why it's important, and then receive it and stay in allowance. And as more and more I learn to be in allowing, the more and more I can receive, and so can you. Abraham says this: be willing to play this game once a week for a month, and then once a month for 5 months. And at the end of 6 months, you will look back on your changed life. Once a week for a month, once a month for the next 5 months, and at 6 months, you will have a changed life. And finally today, our process number 4 is virtual reality. Again, yesterday you saw how I used that in coaching. When you are feeling good and want to practice, but look how it's dropped down now. It's not only at level 1 joy, we're now down below the negative. We're into boredom. So even in a state of boredom, you can go to this and begin to bring your vibration back up. We live in a vibrational universe. We are vibrational beings, and everything is managed by the law of attraction. That's the universal manager. Our thoughts, feelings make our vibration offering to the universe. That is our point of attraction. What we think, what we feel, what we see for the future. That creates the vibration. Our vibration at the end of my energy field is where I'm interacting with the universe, and the universe is bringing everything I vibrate to. Not just what I'm thinking, what I vibrate to. All this creating needs these 3 steps. Step number 1, ask. It's ours to do. Step number 2, answer the asking. It is not ours to do. This is the universe's. Stay out of what's not ours. This is where you get it all mucked up. We get into the details, the minutiae. I got to think about, what am I going to do this? And we do long to-do lists. Anybody here do to-do lists this long? That's the minutiae. That's the details. It's not your job. And this is where we get all overwhelmed and stressed out. We define what we want, and we live in the place of allowance. We live in the place of vibration, of receiving, and the universe and the law of attraction manager takes care of the details. It's a completely different way to live. But as you begin to get in the flow and move downstream, you will see this begin to happen in your life on many, many, many levels. Being in the receiving mode of what is asked for, this is ours to do. That's where you put your energy. That's where you put your faith. That's where you put your trust. So here's an example. A bunch of bills come in the mail. And you're like, man, I don't have enough money to pay it this month. Probably all of us had this experience. Step 1, we put up a rocket of desire. I want more money. That's a good desire. But what happens to step 3? We begin to get frightened, stressed. I need more money now. That is not allowing. That is not accepting. That is resistance. And the money won't come. This is why over hundreds of years, prayers for peace on earth, when people were vibrating at war, no peace comes. You can do all the words, you can do all the affirmations, but if your vibration is non-peace, you will not see peace in your own life, but let alone in the universe. So this is where we have to pay attention to step 3. Am I really vibrating in a place that I'm receiving, allowing, versus resistance and push away? And that's the piece that I see so many people get hung up on and stops because no money comes. And why? Because we're in resistance and not allowing. We're living in split energy. Split energy is the quickest way to go around in a circle and never get anywhere. And most people that I coach come in with split energy. It's like, this is what I want, but this is what's happening. It's because split energy, probably 95% of the time. So watch yourself in this step 3. These processes will help you get there. This virtual reality process allows you to be the director of your film. Make it a film, make it a movie. See yourself complete with what you've just set up your desire for. Feel what it feels like to have it happen. And the more you stay in that movie, the more you feel it within yourself, the more you are in alignment with allowing and the receiving piece. Create the scene of anything you want. Think it, feel it, see it, complete it. And the way I taught it yesterday in the workshop, you see it on stage, you see yourself, whatever it is you want, you see yourself, you feel it, you can see the feelings, the emotions, and then you walk up to it and step into it and see out the eyes of you living it, completed. And the universe has to bring it to you. It's the law and will not be mocked. We just have to get ourselves in the process and alignment and allowing to receive, and it all comes forward. The purpose of this virtual reality is to cause us to activate the vibration within us to allow our well-being. Being well, all is well. Let's live from that place of well-being. And the two questions you hear from me over and over again: is this what I want? And does it feel good? And those two will keep you in alignment with your well-being and will continue to bring you in alignment with what you're putting out that you want for your life. But here's something interesting. If you're in this virtual reality and you're worried or you're rejoicing, the universe only says what? Yes. And will bring you exactly what you vibrate to. Worry, rejoice. Worry, rejoice. Our choice. And so it will be. So these are 4 processes. I hope it'll be on tape. You'll be able to take them down and review them. We're going to go further on Tuesday and play with each one of these. The more we play with them, the more they become part of our consciousness to allow us to go to a next step of well-being. Sound like fun? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Awesome. So we're going to move now into our decrees.